Election Special. The Midterms, You Decide 2014.
And welcome back in, everybody. Ed Berliner along with J.D. Hayworth. Thanks so much for joining us for our midterm election coverage. Right now, let's go to Miranda Kahn in the newsroom. We're hearing more from the people now and also those involved in the Florida governor's race. Miranda?
Thanks, Ed. Thanks, J.D. Incumbent Governor Rick Scott and Republican turned Democrat Charlie Crist are in a very tight race. Scott actually has a slight 3-point lead with nearly 70% of precincts reporting. Let's take a look at this hotly contested race. There's nothing sunny about the race for governor in the Sunshine State. Incumbent Rick Scott is trying to keep former Governor Charlie Crist from reclaiming the top job in Tallahassee. The fight has played out in very vicious attack ads, which may be why voters don't really like either candidate.
When you see his ads, remember it was guys like Rick Scott that crashed our economy.
Sponsored by Let's Get to Work. Just the other day.
Do you think that nothing about Obamacare has irreparably harmed Floridians in any way?
No, I don't think so at all. I think it's been great.
In Quinnipiac's September survey, 48% of those polled say they found Scott unfavorable. That's compared to a 42% favorable rating. Likewise, Crist got an unfavorable rating of 49%. Compared to a 41% favorable rating. Scott, throughout his term, has struggled with low approval ratings, especially when it came to his cuts to education. Crist is fighting to overcome a very controversial political past. The once self-described Reagan Republican is on this ticket as a Democrat. That's after he chose to run for the U.S. Senate in 2010 as an independent. No matter the outcome, the stakes are very high in this race. Republicans are expected to keep their hold on the state legislature, hitting the importance of the state's governor race. Also interesting to note, Charlie Crist campaign filed a motion, as you may recall, to extend voting hours until 9 p.m. in Broward County, but a judge denied that request.
All right,
Back
Miranda.
to you guys.
All right, Miranda, thanks so much. You want to bring everybody up to speed here a little bit because with about 93% of the vote in right now in Florida, they're calling Rick Scott with a 49 to 46% lead at this point. I can tell you, I spoke to people who said, here's exactly what we're going to do when we walk into the ballot box in Florida. We're going to do this. We're going to hold our nose and basically just throw a vote out there.
Well, the reason why, Miranda touched on it, the Quinnipiac unfavorables. When you are running for office, it gets toxic when you're in the low 40s unfavorables, having both major candidates unfavorability ratings of 48 and 49% respectively. And I wouldn't see anything that changed it down the stretch with so many ads. This is absolutely scorched earth, kind of last candidate standing, and we'll be watching this for quite a while tonight.
Let's go ahead and turn to Philadelphia right now. Political analyst and strategist Dick Morris joins us. All right, Dick, we're hearing a little bit more as we go through the evening, and also now we've heard from Florida. Your take?
Yeah, Florida is going to be solid. 93% of the vote in 3-point margin for Scott. The polls predicted 3 points. That's what it's going to be. In Kentucky, this is the most complete state's returns we have. We have 3/4 of the vote in, and McConnell's winning by 13. Over the past weekend, the polling showed McConnell winning by 8 and by 9. So he's overperforming the polls by 4 or 5 points. And that's the most complete state we have, which indicates a 4 or 5 point plus GOP trend. Virginia, I think you really can at this point say it's going to be Gillespie. The way I like to follow these races is you take what it is when there's a small percentage of the vote, and then you follow it as the vote comes in. And in Gillespie's case, with 38%, he had a 6-point lead, and now with 64%, he has a 5-point lead. I don't think that lead's going anywhere. Well, in North Carolina, it's kind of the opposite situation. With 28% of the vote, Hagan had a 9-point lead. Now with 43% of the vote, she still has a 7-point lead. North Carolina is too soon to get into, but I think very soon you're going to see Virginia called for Gillespie.
Well, that would be huge, Dick, and this becomes the question. As much as I'd like to see my old friend Ed Gillespie in the United States Senate, what I understand in terms of the Virginia vote typically is that the northern counties and the area bordering the District of Columbia, areas that traditionally are vote rich for Democrats, usually don't report till late. You're saying that Gillespie will have enough of a margin to hang on and win?
Yeah, it's hard. It's possible. You're right. I don't know where these votes are coming from geographically, but with 2/3 of the vote in, he's got a 5-point lead, which is pretty hefty, I think. But the thing you got to stay with here is, of all of these returns, the only state where we really know what's happening, where the whole vote is in, 3/4 of the vote is in Kentucky, and there, the guy McConnell's running 4 to 5 points better than the polling. And to me, that would suggest that the Republicans are going to run significantly better than the final polling, which is 10 plus seats. Although I'm not happy with North Carolina. New Hampshire, we were 13 behind. Now we're only 6 behind, but with only 19% in. You got to look at it. But the Kentucky numbers indicate to me that the Republicans are outperforming their polling.
All right, Dick, we're going to have to stop you right there. We'll be back with a lot more. Thank you, Dick Morris in Philadelphia. Top of the next hour, John Bachman's at the election desk. Big surprises, upsets, and a whole lot more. This is Your Decision 2014. We'll continue on Newsmax.
The Midterms You Decide 2014 will be back in just a moment.